At this point, I couldn't imagine it could possibly get any worse. In this video, I'm going to tell you the story of me trying to be a door-to-door salesman for the first time ever. By the way, my name is Drew. I'm a high school track athlete, so when I heard that my high school track program was having a fundraiser, I was all for it. We will be raising money selling oranges for the Orange Guy company, and all the profits will go to the high school track program. They do this fundraiser every year, and apparently the girls team outsells the guys team every year. But if we're gonna beat the girls, I'm gonna need some backup. So I messaged some of my close friends asking if they were gonna be bothered selling me these oranges. The first few people I texted didn't seem too interested. Didn't seem like they really wanted to sell anything. And I was starting to think that I'd have to do this solo when one of my friends, let's call him John, agreed to come along. We met on Sunday and off we went. All we brought were a clipboard, a pen, and then the sheet with all the orange and grapefruit information. We also decided to alternate who does the talking at each house. Okay, so we walk up to the first house and the exchange goes something like this. Hey, we're selling oranges and grapefruit to raise money for our track and field program. You can get 44 to 48 oranges for $35 or 20 to 28 grapefruit for $35. Are you interested? Then we had to fill out our information in the boxes and off we went to the next house, which didn't work quite as well. We just went with the same pitch, but this time he turned us down, citing some sort of medical reason he couldn't have citrus because of some medication he was taking. In between the next couple houses, me and John decided that our pitch needed a little bit of a revision. We felt that we had been giving out too much information before we had even asked if they were interested or not, so we changed our pitch and now it was something kind of like this. Hey, we're selling Californian naval oranges and grapefruit to raise money for our track and field program. Are you interested? And it worked wonders. We went something like 4 to 5 or 5 out of 7 for the first several group of houses. We were on fire. We were selling it to everyone. We thought we were untouchable. We thought we were gonna sell a whole sheet and be done with it so fast. Then we hit a drought. Most of the houses we went to just weren't even answering their doors. One guy saw us from the garage, seemed to be on the phone or something, and he just waved his arm at us to shoo us away. Another guy just shut the door on us halfway through giving him our pitch, which is kind of insane. That thing is like a few seconds long and he's already closing the door. Then there was this other dude that didn't answer the door, but then like 20 seconds later, as me and John were walking up the hill, he literally like comes out of his garage, just smoking a cigarette, sits down on like a giant stone that's next to his driveway and just watches us. Then we found Matt. Matt's one of John's coworkers at the YMCA. It was actually a complete coincidence that we ran into him. I didn't even know who he was, and John didn't even know that he lived there. Matt seemed initially hesitant to buy any because his dad was not around, but after some peer pressuring, we got him just to put down his information in case his dad wants to make the sale later on. And we hit up a few more houses on the way back over to my house, and we had a bit of a mix of success. Weirdly, we ran into another old person who said they had a medication that didn't allow them to have citrus. So is there some kind of like common medication that I don't know about? I don't know. It's a orange mystery. Overall, we managed to make 8 sales and 3 people that just donated $20 in cash. We even stopped by one of the friends that I had messaged initially to see if they would want to come with, to stop by their house and try and sell an orange to their parents before he could even sell it to his own. That was quite funny, but unfortunately he was there and he managed to stop us. So far we had already sold quite a few oranges, but I wasn't done yet. I had another plan. I should sell to my homeschool co-op. I'm homeschooled, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. And us homeschoolers usually do a co-op where we basically just get together and socialize to do school 1 or 2 days of the week. The parents usually kind of agree on what they want to teach their kids, and then they assign parents to teach each class. And there's usually 5, maybe 10 kids in each class. And there's a parent email list that keeps them up to date on all the important information. My mom suggested that I send the lady that's in charge of that email list an email asking her if she could put this little advertisement in the weekly email. So I drafted up an email and sent it off. She happily agreed to put it in the email and then it went out. Unfortunately, I thought it was a bust. A week went by and we had no orders, and then we got 2 different orders at the same time, and one of them was a double order. They were ordering oranges and grapefruit. That actually, we hadn't sold to anyone on 2 things before, because it's $35 for a box, so most people just get one of, oranges or grapefruit, not both. That was pretty cool. What can I say? Door-to-door sales isn't really that hard. When I showed up for practice on Wednesday afternoon, I discovered, to my horror, that we were supposed to be collecting the payments. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't know how you thought you didn't have to collect the payments beforehand. And honestly, it was a huge oversight. I should have just realized that from the beginning. But to my defense, it does have on the sheet a spot for a phone number. And I could not think of a reason they would have the phone number on there unless it was for them to use it to collect the information, to collect the payment. But really, it's probably just a backup. That doesn't make any sense. I was an idiot. Anyway, the orange sheets were due to be turned in at the very latest a week from that day. So me and John quickly decided that the following Sunday, we're going to meet back up again and go through the list, go back to all the addresses, and collect payments. And the payment system was actually pretty robust. You could pay cash, card, or check. I mean, it doesn't have crypto, but it's pretty good. And it was a disaster. Half the people weren't home. The other half of the people were kind of confused. We told most of them that if they had asked, we told them the company would come and collect their payments. We just kind of pretended that we were the people that were sent out to collect the payments. We should have just gotten it beforehand. That was stupid. But we got it done, and for all the people that weren't there, I went back Monday evening to go through their houses, and I got all their information squared out except for 3 of them. So I texted them all with the phone number that I'd supplied, that I kind of need to collect payment. Unfortunately, only one of them answered, so the other 2 just never paid for and never got delivered any oranges. And the people I had texted, they said they were out on vacation at the moment, but you could actually pay online via the credit card, so I sent them basically the phone number that they would text, and then it would supply them a link to the website where they would pay. Unfortunately though, strangely, you actually need to type in orange to that phone number. It's one of those auto response phone numbers, and then it will link you to the proper website. All I gave them was the phone number. I forgot till the next morning to give them the word. Yet in the morning when I, told them, oh, I'm so sorry, here's the word you can use, they're like, no, we already paid. So I don't know how they knew to type orange into the auto response system, or did it just send them something when they typed anything in? Did they just look up orangeguycompany.com? I don't know how they paid. They did. I don't know how they knew to use the code word orange. There's multiple mysteries to the day. When I arrived at Matt's house, his dad answered the door. And at first he was really confused about what's going on. Clearly Matt had not told him anything that had happened. So once I kind of explained to him what had happened, he for some reason was really upset, really unhappy. So he wasn't necessarily upset at me, but at Matt. He was kind of basically just said like, wow, that's a really messed up thing for him to do. Quote, like, that's a really messed up thing for him to do. It's like, really messed up for your son to buy oranges? I don't. And then he turned me down so he wouldn't pay for it. And then he went, and then he literally told me he was gonna go like yell at his son now. I was like, okay, that's strange. I don't know why he's so mad about that, but co-op people that ordered both live about an hour away from where I do. And I wouldn't see them again until Wednesday, which is when the payments are due, Wednesday morning. So I asked my mom what to do, and she said she would just pay for them, and I could just go and deliver everything in the morning, and then once I get the money from them, I would just give that money to my parents later that Wednesday afternoon. And thankfully they paid us by cash, so they didn't if they wrote a check to the Meet High School program or paid via credit card, we would just be out of luck. So that's it. The nightmare of mistakes is finally over, or so I thought. Once again, to my horror, when I arrived at practice one of the following days, I discovered that we also were the people delivering the oranges. Now this is like Thursday evening. We go to the high school, put all the boxes in my car, and I drive home. John's actually busy working at the YMCA right now, so he's not there to help. I just go through all the places and I just go, you know what? I'm just gonna try and deliver all these right now. I don't want them sitting at my house for too long. Let's get this done with. Especially because I was going on an overnight trip for track the next day that would last like 2 or 3 days. So it would be like 3 or 4 days before I would get these to people if I didn't get them off right now. So I immediately dropped off the first 2, and then as I was picking up the 3rd one to go to the house and drop it off, I saw something that struck me to my soul. On the box, it said Californian naval. However, I was at that particular house dropping off a box of grapefruit, which made me realize I had actually switched the orders for the previous 2 houses. Yeah, that's right. I had mixed up the boxes for the first 2 houses. Oh my god, bro. Make it stop. At this point, I couldn't imagine it could possibly get any worse. I made such an incredible amount of mistakes, it's embarrassing. So I went to the first house, I knocked on the door, and after an awkward exchange, I got the boxes switched. At the second house, the same girl had answered as did the first time, a girl probably about my age, 16, 17, and I explained to her the mix-up. Meanwhile, she had this little dog, maybe one of those little 10-pound dogs. It was just barking at me like crazy. So after I'd explained it to her, I reached down to pet the dog, and it tried to bite me. I mean, it was one of those mean little dogs. I should have known. She apologized profusely and then went to the back to go grab the box so we could exchange. And as we switched the boxes, she actually handed me a bag of candy, she said, for the trouble. So that was nice. The only thing left was an hour-long drive to this co-op mom's house to deliver the final box. As I was driving down, I was eating the candy that the girl had given me, and a thought struck me. How funny would it be if she had put her phone number in a little piece of paper and put it in the bag? That would be pretty funny. Fortunately, she never did, so no such thing. And you probably wouldn't believe me if I didn't grab footage, but as I was driving down, it went from a completely normal day with literally the weather had no predictions that anything bad would happen. Literally a blizzard out of nowhere. And the other co-op mom that had ordered the box, I just delivered the oranges and grapefruit to her and the following morning. At the start of this adventure, I struggled to find help, ran into multiple rude people, forgot to collect checks, had to deliver the packages, ran into some angry dad, getting the packages switched up, and finally a mini blizzard. In the end, we sold over a dozen boxes of fruit, got first-hand experience selling door-to-door sales, and we got the girl. Well, almost. Lessons we learned: hard work gets the job done, and I am stupid. If you want to try making money, then door-to-door sales probably isn't the easiest way to do that. Click here to find out what is. Okay, that scene is over.